Making an impact. It's not about making a nice impression. It's about making an impact. It's about doing your best. I learned that how to make an impact from the wisest person I've met in my life, a third grade dropout. Wisest and dropout, wisest and dropout in the same sentences is rather oxymoronic.
The same sentence is rather oxymoronic, like
jumbo shrimp.
Like fun
ain't nothing fun about it. And it's not oxymoronic for me to say third grade and dropout. That third grade dropout, the wisest person I've ever met in my life, who taught me to combine knowledge and wisdom to make an impact, was my father. A simple cook. Wisest man I've ever met in my life. Or wisest man I've ever met in my life. Wisest man I've ever met in my life. Just a simple cook. Left school in the third grade to help out on the family farm just because he left school doesn't mean his education stopped. Mark Twain once said I never allowed my schooling to get in the way of my education. My father taught himself how to read, taught himself how to write, decided in the midst of Jim Crowism, as America was breathing the last gasp of the Civil War. My father decided he was going to stand up, be a man, not a black man, not a brown man, not a white man, but a man. He literally challenged himself to be the best that he could all the days of his life. A third grade drop that who was quoting Michelangelo, saying to us, boys, I won't have a problem if you aim high and miss, but I'm going to have a real issue if you aim low and hit. A country mother quoting Henry Ford, saying if you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right. You're right. I learned that from a third grade drop. Simple lessons. Lessons like this, son. You'd rather be an hour early than a minute late. We never knew what time it was in my house because the clocks were always ahead. My mother said for nearly 30 years. My father left the house at 3:45 in the morning. One day she asked him, why, Daddy? He said, maybe one of my boys will catch me in the act of excellence. I want to share a few things with you. Aristotle said you are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be a habit, not an act. Don't ever forget that. I know you're tough. I know you're seaworthy, but always remember to be kind. Always. Don't ever forget that. Never embarrass mama. Yeah. If mommy ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. If daddy ain't happy, don't nobody cares. But I'm going to tell you. Next lesson. Lesson from a cook up there in the galley. Son, make sure your server's tower is bigger than your ego. Ego is the inner stage that is the pain of stupidity. You might have a relative in mind you want to send it to. Let me say it again. Ego is the inner stage that is the pain of stupidity. Pride is the burden of a foolish person. John Wooden coached basketball at UCLA for a living, but his calling was to impact people. And with all those national championships, guess what he was found doing in the middle of the week? Going into the cupboard, grabbing a broom, and sweeping his own gym floor. You want to make an impact? Find your broom. Every day of your life, you find your broom. You grow your influence that way. That way you're attracting people so that you can impact them. Final lesson. Son, if you're gonna do a job, do it right. I've always been told how average I can be. Always been criticized about being average. But I want to tell you something. I stand here before you, before all of these people, not listening to those words, but telling myself every single day to shoot for the stars. to be the best that I can be. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better. And better isn't good enough if it can be best. Let me close with a very personal story that I think all this into with a very personal story that I think all bring all the that I think all bring all this into focus. With a very personal story that I think all bring all this into focus. With a very personal story that I think all bring all this into focus. That I think all this with a very personal story that I think all bring all this into focus. With a very personal story that I think all bring all this into focus. With a very personal story that I think all bring all this into focus. With a very personal story that I think all bring all this into focus. With a very personal story that I think all bring all this into focus. Wisdom will come to you in the unlikeliest of sources, a lot of times through failure. When you hit rock bottom, remember this. While you're struggling, rock bottom can also be a great foundation on which to build and on which to grow. I'm not worried that you will be successful. I'm worried that you won't fail from time to time. Person that gets up off the canvas and keeps growing, that's the person that will continue to grow their influence. Back in the 70s, to help me make this point, let me introduce you to someone. I met the finest woman I've ever met in my life. I met the finest woman. Let me tell you something. I'm a little bit confused about how the pronunciation, which is called woman or women. Let me check.
Women.
Women. Woman.
Woman.
Woman. Okay, I got it.
Point. Let me
introduce you to someone. I met the finest woman I've ever met in my life. I met the finest woman I'd ever met in my life. I met the finest woman I'd ever met in my life. I met the finest woman I'd ever met in my life. I met the finest woman I'd ever met in my life. I'd ever met in my life. Back in my day, we have called her a brick house. This woman was the finest woman I've ever seen in my life. This woman was the finest woman I've ever met in my life.
This woman was the finest
woman I've met in my life. But there was just one little problem. Back then, ladies didn't like being online men, and the blind side hadn't come out yet. They are like quarterbacks and running backs. We were at the stands, and I found Tina Williams from Lompoc, California. And we all dancing, and we all just excited. And I decided in the middle of the dancing with her that I would ask her a phone number. That I would ask her phone number. That I would ask her for her phone number. That I would ask her for a phone number. That I would ask her for a phone number. That I would ask her for a phone number. Phone number. Tina was the first one. Tina was the only one in college who gave me a real telephone number. The next day, we walked to Baskin Robbins ice cream parlor. My friends couldn't believe it. This has been 40 years ago, and my friends still can't believe it. We gone on a second date, and a third date, and a fourth date. We drive from Chico to Vallejo so that she could be my parents. My father misses her, my daddy, my hero. He misses her, pulls me to the side and says, "Is she psycho?" But anyway, we go together 4 years, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. 4 years. By now, Chino's trying to senior in college.
I'm still a freshman.
I'm still a freshman, but I'm working some things out. I'm so glad I graduated 4 times Melissa for Carter Reagan.
So
now it's time to propose. I talked to her girlfriends, and it's California. It's in the 70s, so I have to also have to have a candle. You have to have some chocolate. Listen, I'm from the hood. I had a bottle of Boone's Farm wine. That's what I had. She said yes. That was the key.
That was the key.
I met the most beautiful woman. I married the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. I married the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. You've ever been to it? Even before the wedding starts, you hear this. How in the world? And it was coming from my side of the family.
And it was coming from my side of the family.
We get married. Our lives are great.
We get married. We have a
few children. Our lives are great.
One day,
Tina finds our life. Lumps in her left breast cancer.
6 years,
6 years after the diagnosis,
me
and my two little boys walked up to mommy's casket.
And
for 2 years, my heart didn't beat. If it wasn't for my faith in God, I wouldn't be standing here today. If it wasn't for those two little boys, there would have been no reason for which to go. There would have been no reason for which to go on. I was completely lost. That was rock bottom. You know what sustained me? The wisdom of a third grade dropout. The wisdom of a simple cook from California Maritime Academy. With that casket, I never saw my dad cry. But this time I saw my dad cry. That was his daughter. Tina was his daughter, not his daughter-in-law. And I'm right behind my father, about to see her for the last time on this earth. And my father shared 3 words with me to change my life right there at the casket. It would be the last lesson he would ever teach me.
He said,
son,
just
stand.
You keep standing.
You keep standing.
You keep
standing. No matter how rough the sea, you keep standing. And I'm not talking about just water. You keep standing. No matter what, you don't give up. I learned the lesson from a third grade dropout. And it's clearly, as I'm talking to you today, these were some of her last words to me. She looked me in the eyes and she says, it doesn't matter to me any longer how long I live. What matters to me most is how I live. Yeah, I asked you all one question. A question that was asked all my life by a third grade dropout. How you're living? How you're living? Every day, ask yourself that question. How you're living? Here's what a cook in the dining center would suggest you to live this way. That you not judge, that you shop early, that you be kind, that you make sure that service tower is huge and used, that if you're gonna do something, you do it the right way. That cook will tell you this, that it's never wrong to do the right thing, that how you do anything is how you do everything. In that way, you will grow your influence to make it impact. In that way, you will honor all those who have gone before you, who have invested in you, from teachers to grandparents to mom and dad. When you combine that academic knowledge with that wisdom, oh my goodness, you will change the world. So that the class of 2017, it is with great honor that I said all your lives, look in those unlikeliest places for wisdom. Enhance your life every day by seeking the wisdom and asking yourself every night, how am I living? May God literally bless you all. Thank you for having me again. Wow, every time I repeat this speech, the meaning of this speech is really impressed me.
When I was in fifth grade,
so nice, so nice. Today is Sunday, so maybe one more time. Let's go. identified as a mental retarded, put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade, and stayed in the category until I got out of high school. I don't have any college training, but I met a high school teacher who one day changed my life. I was waiting on another student, and when he came in, he said to me, "Young man, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you." I said, "I cannot do that, sir." He said, "Why not?" I said, "I'm not one of your students." He said, "It doesn't matter. Follow my directions now." I said, "I can do that, sir." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Because I'm educable mental retarded." And he came from behind his desk and looked at me. He said, "Don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." And as he talked, my heart began to beat fast. Tears began to run from my eyes, and I was in the back just listening to him because the speech he was giving, that speech was for me. And he said, "Les Brown," he said, "if you want to do anything worthwhile in life, you've got to be hungry." I told Mr. Watson that I wanted to become a disc jockey, and so I started working to develop myself. He said, "I want you to practice every day being a disc jockey." I said, "But I don't have any job now." He said, "It doesn't matter." He said that it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. And as I was working to develop myself, I applied for a job as a disc jockey at WME on Miami Beach. I went to a guy named Milton Barber. I said, "How are you doing, Mr. Barber? I'd like to get a job as a disc jockey." He looked at me and said, "Do you have any broadcast background?" I said, "No, sir, I don't." "Do you have any journalism background?" I said, "No, sir, I don't." He said, "We don't have any jobs available." I said, "Yes, sir." I went back to Mr. Watson and told him, he said, "Don't take it personally." He said, "Most people are so negative, they will have to say no 7 times before they say yes." He said, "Go back again." So I went back again. I said, "How are you doing, Mr. Butterworth? My name is Lester." He said, "I know what your name is. What do you want?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "I'd like to know whether or not you have any jobs as a disc jockey, sir." I said, I'd like to know whether or not you have any jobs as a disc jockey, sir." I said, "I'd like to know whether or not you have any jobs as a disc jockey, sir." I said, "I'd like to know whether or not you have any jobs as a disc jockey, sir." I'd like to know whether or not you have any jobs as a disc jockey, sir. I said, "I'd like to know whether or not you have any jobs as a disc jockey, sir." "Sir," he said, "did not just yesterday we don't have any jobs?" I said, "Yes, sir, but I don't know whether or not somebody was laid up or somebody was fired, sir." He said, "No one was laid up or fired. Now get on out of here." I came back the next day like I was in for the first time. I said, "Hello, Mr. Butterworth, how are you?" He looked at me with a and said, "Go get me some coffee." I said, "Yes, sir." And I wanted to get him some coffee. After a while, I get their lunch and dinner and out the control rooms to taste the disc jockey their food, and I would not leave until they would ask me to leave. One Saturday afternoon, while I was at the radio station, a guy named Rock was drinking while he was on the air. I was the only one there, looking at him through the control room windows, working back and forth, young, ready, and hungry. Pretty soon the phone rang. It was general manager. And I answered the phone. I said, "Hello." He said, "This is Mr. Clint." I said, "I know." He said, "Can I finish this program?" I said, "I know." He said, "Would you call one of the other DJs?" And I said, "Yes, sir." I hung the phone up. I said, "He must be think I'm crazy." I called my mom and my girlfriend Cassandra. I said, "Y'all turn off the radio, come out on the front porch. I'm about to come on the air." I waited for about 20 minutes. And I called him back. I said, "Mr. Klein, I can't find nobody." He said, "Young boy, do you know how to work the controls?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Going there, I don't see nothing here." I said, "Yes, sir." I couldn't wait to get behind those controls. I put on silver on the record cord fingertips. I sat down behind the turntable. I said, "Look out, this is me, Eric Trooper here. Les Brown, your platter plain paper. There will none before me, there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bonafide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction, a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man." I was hungry. You gotta be hungry. Begin to know that your greatness within you. And if just one of you here begin to envision yourselves as being blessed and highly favored to reach your goals. If just one of you capture the essence of what that means, that you have greatness within you, our responsibility to manifest that greatness. That you can make your parents proud, you can make your school proud, you can touch millions of people's lives, and the world will never be the same again because you came this way. And I was facing financial difficulties in my own life. It was very difficult to pick myself up each day, believing that I can do it. There were times that I doubted myself. I used to ask myself, can I do this? And something said within me, you are the one. Don't give up on your dream. By continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream, that one day I would have my own talk show. From living sitting about the building on the floor, never knowing my mother and father, being here with you today in this town. In Atlanta, it's a long shot. No college turn level to edge governmental retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop.
There was a young man who, he wanted to make a lot of money, and so he went to this guru, right? He told the guru, I want to be on the same level you are. And so the guru said, if you want to be on the same level I'm on, I'll meet you tomorrow at the beach at 4 a.m. So the young man got there at 4 a.m. He all ready to rock and roll, got on the suit. Should have wore shorts. The old man grabs his hand and said, how bad you want to be successful? He said, real bad. He said, walk on out in the water. So he walks out into the water. Watch this. When he walks out into the water, it goes waist deep. So he's like, this guy crazy. I want to make money. He got me out here swimming. I didn't ask to be a lifeguard.
I want to make money.
He got me.
So
he said, come on,
come on the further.
Then he had it right around this area.
This area.
The shoulder area. So this old man crazy. He's making money, but he crazy. He said, come on out a little further. Came out a little further. Right at his mouth. My man like, I'm about to go back in here. This guy is mine. But the old man said, I thought you said you wanted to be successful. He said, I do. He said, walk a little further. He came, dropped his head, held him down. My man kept scratching, holding him down. He had him held down just before my man was about to pass out. He raised him up. He said, when you want to succeed, as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I don't know how many of y'all got asthma here today. If you ever had an asthma attack before, you short of breath. SOB, shortness of breath. You wheezing. The only thing you're trying to do is get some air. You don't care about no basketball game. You don't care about TV. You don't care about nobody calling you. You don't care about a party. The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some air. That's it. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is successful, as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. The most of you think you'll be successful, you don't want it bad, you just kind of want it. You don't want it better, you want to party, you don't want it as much as you want to cool. Most of you success, you want to sleep. Somebody loves sleep more than you love success. And here today, if you're going to be success, you gotta be willing to give up sleep. You gotta be willing to work out 3 hours or 2 hours, and you really want to be successful. Someday you'll say 3 days in a row. Because you go to sleep, you might miss the opportunity to be successful. That happens, you gotta listen to me. You gotta want to successful so bad that you could get to eat. Yes, doing her thing. 3 days had gone by. She forgot she didn't eat. 50 Cent was doing his movie. I did a little research on 50, and 50 said that when he wasn't doing the movie, he was doing the soundtrack. And they said, when do you sleep, 50? Sleep. He said, sleep. Sleep is for those people who are broke. I don't sleep. Said I got an opportunity to make a dream become a reality.
This video is a little bit short, but good enough. to memorize, and it's just 30 minutes long, and it'll be great. Okay, I did my best. I studied almost 25 minutes. This is good enough for today. Good enough. Okay, this is it. I did my best. I'm proud of myself today, and I will go outside because yesterday a little bit raining, so I couldn't go outside, and I wanted to jogging, but I couldn't. Anyway, today weather is cloudy but not rainy, so I has to be outside, and I run a little bit, maybe 3 to 5 kilometers. And if I'm lucky, I could buy some running shoes. And I have planned that to do jogging regularly. So anyway, this is it. Have a good day.